Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Note Close Show. As always, Scott Carson, excited to be here today. Today's episode is all about the 10 commandments when it comes to note investing. Now, yes, am I talking a little bit kind of in throwback to the 10 Commandments movie with Charlton Heston back when I was a young wee lad? A 3-hour, 4-hour biopic about Moses and the 10 Commandments that God gave them. But today, I want to share kind of a different 10 commandments. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with due diligence or raising capital or evaluating up. These are 10 things you really got to keep in mind as a note investor to find success in the long run, to help you end up going to that note investing heaven in the sky. Okay. And I see investors making these mistakes or making these sins all the time when it comes to their own personal investment or portfolio, what they're doing. And the first one kind of spun off of somebody called me up and asked me a question about a note they were getting ready to buy. And I was like, as I'm pulling it up and looking at it, the numbers look good, but when we actually look at the asset, I'm like, oh, this doesn't look good at all. So the number one, we'll start with the first commandment. Okay. Number one is never buy a note on a property that you don't want to end up owning the asset. If somebody's living in a property and you're buying it at a decent price, you have to realize if you end up owning that asset, guess what? You're going to probably have to rehab it, repair it, and then do a lot of work to it. So I'm not a fan of buying ugly properties. I'll buy sometimes notes in smaller cities than what most people would do, but I don't mind owning that asset because it's a decent looking asset in a community that I'm going to move. But if it's a POS, like I'll give you a great example. I was getting ready to buy 2 performing notes from a fund a month or two ago down in South Texas, down in the valley, performing. They weren't the biggest of assets. I mean, they were kind of smaller valued assets, smaller payments for the most part. But I was like, oh, these be good for my IRA. Then I started looking at them as I sent my property inspector by to take a picture of the property. I'm like, yeah, no, grass is tall. Somebody may live in it, but it's probably never been outdated or updated. Need a whole lot of work, and then the work putting into it would be a whole lot more work. So number one, never buy a property you don't want to end up owning or taking that asset back. It's an important thing. Okay. 2, stay awake from the woke states. Okay. You're seeing a mass exodus of people leaving California, crime going up in Portland, Oregon, city of Chicago dealing with issues, Walmart's moving out and stuff like that. I hate to say this. I'm pretty anti-political in a lot of cases. That's the whole bartender, two subjects. Don't talk about religion, don't talk about politics, but you can't but help but talk about politics these days with the way the world is. So one of the big things, stay away from those woke cities where the borrowers or tenants are due something. I mean, you've seen some very disastrous policies in cities where they're starting to pay criminals or paying people to leave houses instead of evicting. It takes forever to evict somebody, or anything under $1,000 crime. They're not even processes or time to arrest. Just seriously, anytime you see cities like that, you're going to see investors mass migrating to get the hell out of Dodge. So that's why I don't buy in Chicago anymore. That's why I don't buy in like Portland and some other states like that out there. Just better bang for your buck than working with investor-friendly cities. Okay. Another thing, never buy for just one exit strategy. This is 3. This is the number 3 when it comes to number 3 commandment. Never buy an asset that you're just going to profit from performing or foreclosing or deed in lieu. If you only have one exit strategy, you've got a lot more opportunities for things to go wrong. Not necessarily in a bad way, but if your exit strategy is to, I'm just going to foreclose on the property, well, then suddenly the borrower brings money to the table, and now it's a performing note because you have to give the borrower the right to get caught back up, and it's a low ROI. That's on you. Or if your one strategy was to get it reperforming, and you're paying at a higher price, but then the borrower defaults, you got to foreclose, and now you're sitting in above, you got to rehab the property, do some other things, and you're upside down in the water. Yeah, that's the thing. So always make sure that your assets you're buying have 1, 2, preferably 3 exit strategies that's going to make money to either reperforms, cash for keys, or 3, if you foreclose, you'll still make money on it. Okay. Number 4, the number 4 commandment is follow up with people that you make offers from. I'm amazed. This is one of the biggest things that investors don't do. They don't have any type of follow-up system, any CRM, any calendar to follow up with people in a timely fashion, because the more time an asset sits on a listing website or in a bank's books that's non-performing, Usually the more motivation that seller has to move it off their books is they're paying for servicing, especially if it's non-performing. They're paying monthly for servicing costs. Taxes are getting more expensive that they got to take care of, and it becomes more of a detriment to their portfolio. So, if we make an offer, we follow up 30 days, which is not accepted. We follow up 60 days, we're not accepted. Follow up 90 days, not accepted. Some of the best deals are stuff that we've negotiated 90 to 120 days out from when it first came across our books. And we just followed up because the bank, the seller, the asset manager wasn't that smart at marketing. Not that saying they're stupid. They just didn't have the tools for CRM, didn't have a big database to reach out to people. So you never know what the motivation is. But usually increased time on a platform, increased time for a sale means a bigger discount, and maybe that note will be on clearance at some point. Okay, especially as soon as we get to the end of the year. Is right now a lot of banks are really kind of uneasy and looking to probably start taking some discounts off their stuff. Okay. Number 5 commandment, this should go without saying, but know your buy box. Know exactly what you're looking for. Know what parameters you're looking at, to 50K to 500K in most markets. Some people go, I just want to buy in hardest hit fund states. Well, that's not a good buy box because hardest hit fund states don't exist, or hardest hit funds don't exist anymore. So know your buy box. Stick to, don't be buying weird one-off assets unless you've got something special lined up for that. Okay. I don't like to do empty properties for the most part. I like to do vacant properties for the most part, unless it's in a couple states that I'm okay with if I have to rehab because I've got the team and people there. So know your buy box. It's very important. If you say I buy everything, sellers will know that you don't buy anything. Okay. So don't be one of those people. Oh, I buy everything. No, you don't. Really, what are you looking for? So, what your buy box is, your steak and potato, your vanilla. What's your traditional buy box? You can still do the outside things that come across, but your major buy box is what you want people to know what you're looking for. Okay. Number 6 commandment, and this is a big thing, is that the servicers work for you. Your vendors work for you. You don't work for your vendors. Okay. There are some servicing companies out there that don't have that mindset. They're like, oh, we don't work for you. Yeah, you do. You need to get off your ass and put your people to work. There, I've seen some servicing companies service literally just fall off a cliff because the owner, the operator, the head honcho over there really isn't that motivated in providing service to their clients, because that's what a servicing company is supposed to do, be providing you with service in the borrower outreach, and you're supposed to dictate to them what you want them to do. Now, they've got their specific things that to follow with the fair debt collection practices, but if you're not getting service by your servicer, you need to find somebody else. Okay. And that's just not your service. It's your insurance company. It's your due diligence companies. It's realtors, vendors, that kind of stuff. Your vendors work for you. You don't work for your vendors. Okay. Number 7 is a mistake I see a lot of people is nickel and diming their business. And is that they step over dollars to save a nickel. Okay, and anything you can do to speed up the velocity of capital, and by the velocity of capital is you can get to an exit strategy faster, offering it cash for keys, sending out a trial payment plan with a certified letter, so somebody really to sign off, or sending out a mobile notary to meet the borrower to sign off on a property, or sign up assignment, or anything you can do to speed that up. It's going to speed up your velocity capital, because instead of it taking 2-3 months for somebody to come to the table, it's done in 30 days. I know an investor who runs a fund. I can't believe he's still in business, but he was literally send out a snail mail. He wouldn't go pay for FedEx to send out documents. He'd send it via snail mail, so there was no tracking. And then you're waiting to see when it was received. There's no tracking from where you see the borrower signed on it. That just drives me bonkers. Send out a mobile notary, pay the extra $125, $250, pay FedEx overnight, send in a self-addressed stamped envelope, or send in a return envelope from FedEx so that you know it's signed and then it's dropped off and sent in. These are things that speed things up. It's a cost of doing business, but if you can get your money in faster, you end up making things up. You can get a borrower to sign the property over to you in 30 days versus 6 months. You just really quadrupled your ROI than what it would have been before. Okay. Number 8, this is something I call it the dollar cost averaging your portfolio. Now, some people, and I've made this mistake before, that's why I throw in a commandment here. We get so bogged down with, oh, I got to buy at a specific dollar amount or a specific percentage. I'm not going to go above that. That's good. That will keep you in parameters safe, but sometimes the deal may make more sense for you to go a little bit higher because you're maybe getting another deal cheaper. All right. I've had students in the past who got all upset because one deal went really south for them. I'm like, whoa, aren't you buying more deals? I'm like, yeah. I said, don't you have a bunch of other notes? He was like, yes. Well, just make up the profits or the losses on this one deal with your profits off these others. Your investors know things are going to go wrong at some point. They just want to have some sort of action plan. I'm going to pay you out of this other asset, or I'm going to transfer my interest in this asset to you to make up for what it is. But dollar cost average your portfolio. Not every deal is going to be the perfect cookie cutter price point. Some you're going to get cheaper, some you're going to get higher, some you're going to pay more in foreclosure, servicing costs, others than others. You realize, keep track of what's going on in dollar cost average your portfolio, highs and lows. Not everything's be perfect. Not everything's be a home run. You may have a lot of singles and doubles along the way, and then the occasional home run. And sometimes you'll hit a grand slam as well too. Okay. That's number 8. Number 9 commandment, it's make multiple offers. Quit trying to find the perfect deal where everything is perfect. I had a student one time like, oh, he turned down like 10 different deals. I'm like, why are you turning down these deals? These are great deals. No, I need the perfect deal. I'm like, these are perfect deals. You want something that's foolproof. And if that's the case, you keep looking for the perfect deal, then you don't need to be an investor. He literally turned down, and I literally kicked him out of my coaching program and refunded his money back. I was like, you're impossible. I can't deal with you. These are great deals. These are deals that I would do. If you're not going to do them, and you're not coachable. So there's no perfect deal out there. But the great thing is people oftentimes overlook great deals because they're only focused about what one deal, the best deal possible. If you're buying the best asset or the highest ROI, guess what? Other people are going to bid on that one too. So make multiple offers. I got to give a big shout out to one of my students, Taylor. She made offers on 20 assets recently. Well, out of the 2017 were declined, but 3 were accepted. And I'm like, and she's all excited about this. But if she just made offers on like one asset, it probably wouldn't have been accepted. And the others wouldn't have been, she had nothing. So now at least she has 3 offers that are accepted. She's working through those to get those, going through the due diligence process and starting that whole thing. But she's so much more excited versus making just one offer and being scared. Like, make multiple offers. Not everything's going to be accepted. Even if it is all accepted, guess what? You're probably going to end up killing a lot through due diligence and working everything down and fading your bid and other things will pop up. Okay. That's number 9. Number 10 is probably one of the number 1. You got to get educated. You can't be an idiot. Yes, it's great to learn everything through YouTube University and podcasts. That's why we have it to train. And you got to get somebody on there to educate you, because my experience, somebody else's experience is going to save you so much grief and speed up the learning curve from 6 months to 6 weeks or 60 days is the thing. But you're going to learn more by doing. You're going to learn more about buying notes than by pulling the trigger in your first deal, by taking action, by making things happen. But that's the thing. You can learn all you want, but if you never take action, you're never going to find success. And you're going to, like I said, you're going to learn more about that first deal, first 3, 4 notes you do, and you'll feel a lot more prepared for different things. Things are going to happen. New things happen all the time. Always keep learning, but pull the trigger, make offers, get things done. So quick recap of the 10 note commandments. 1, never buy a note on a property you want to end up owning. 2, stay away from woke states and cities. 3, never buy just with one exit strategy that's working. 4, follow up. 5, know your buy box. 6, you direct your servicers. Your vendors work for you. You don't work for them. 7, speed up your velocity capital by expediting things. 8, dollar cost average your portfolio. Not every deal is going to be perfect cookie cutter. Some are better than others, and it's an average. Okay. 9, make multiple offers. Quit trying to find the perfect deal. Number 10, education is key, but you'll learn more about pulling the trigger. So hopefully this episode was valuable to you guys. Go out, take some action. Check out our classes at weclosenotes.com. If you always want to, you're more than welcome to pick up the phone or schedule a call with me by going to talkwithscottcarson.com. But I'm here to help you guys. Go out, take some action, buddy, and we'll see you all at the top.